Mortal Kombat is a fighting game franchise with a large number of fighters, but just how strong are these combatants? To solve this, I've combed through all the canon material and made a list ranking all the fighters from weakest to strongest based off their canon feats. Starting off at number 90 with the weakest character in the franchise, it's Blaze. Now while Blaze has only canonically lost to Shao Kahn, he's the only character who could arguably lose to the entire roster. You see, endings in Mortal Kombat have the potential to be canon, or at the very least aspects of endings have the potential to be canon. Blaze is so weak that in his ending, he gets corrupted and fails in his mission by becoming too strong to be beaten. He actively wants to lose. Moving on from the bottom of the barrel, we get the featless characters, namely Dyro, Darius, Meat, Mocap, Chameleon, and Chameleon. These characters have neither won a fight, nor have they lost a fight. If I were to arbitrarily rank them, I'd probably say Meat because he's not a fully formed person, then Mocap because he is a fully formed person, then Dyro because he's a trained guardsman, then Darius because Dyro works for him, then Chameleon because she's the same species as Reptile, and then Chameleon because not only is the same species as Reptile, but he also kind of looks like him. Well, more than the other Chameleon. Like I said, arbitrary. Moving on from those, we get the absolute jobbers, the people who only show up to lose. I decided to rank these characters based on how strong the weakest character who beat them was. At the bottom of this category, in 83rd place, we have Sector. The weakest person who beat him was Smoke. Then we have Frost. They gave control of the Cyberling Quay over to her, implying she's stronger than Sector. The weakest person she got beat by would be Goro in an unpublished MKX comic, but if you don't want to count that, then the weakest person would be Sub-Zero. Although it should be noted she should be a good deal weaker than him anyways, as he was able to handle the Dragon Medallion but Frost couldn't. In 81st place, we have Cobra, the bargain bin Ken from Street Fighter. He got knocked off the pyramid by Boraicho. Also, if you're wondering how much weaker Cobra is from the top tier fighters, in Armageddon, his ending states Blaze's power made him 1,000 times stronger. That same power only made Shao Kahn 10 times stronger, implying Shao Kahn is 100 times stronger than Cobra. So yeah, they're not relative at all. Moving on, we have Rain. You know, for a demigod, most mortals are more impressive than him. The weakest person he lost to was Kotal Khan. Then, Ferrator, who was beat by Devora. Then we have the Collector, the character with 4 arms who got beat 3 times across 2 timelines all in one game. The weakest person he lost to is Jade. Then Dagon, who got beat by Kenshi in Kenshi's ending in MKX. But if you don't want to count that, then the weakest person he lost to would be Taven. Then Ashra, who got beaten by Ermac. Also, might I add, she has this whole thing about going on a quest of slaying evil to purify her soul so she could escape the Netherrealm. Like, bro, just leave! That's what everyone else does! Number 75, Kira. Kira was beat by Stryker in Armageddon. Followed by Havoc, who lost to Scorpion. Well, Hanzo to be specific. Then we have the wannabe Shao Kahn, Reiko. He was beat by the real Shao Kahn.
There can be only one.
Then we have Liu Kang's protege, Kai. He got beat by Liu Kang. Moving on from them, we have Reptile. Now, Reptile kinda sucks, okay? I'm not gonna beat around the bush. His best feat is doing like the Yoshi tongue thing on Cabal, like a pre-burn Cabal who has no feats. Moving on from Reptile, we have Natara. Her only feat is beating Ashra, back when Ashra was popping off against the vampires while she was being manipulated by her sword. That being said, Ashra is another featless character. Goro. You know, for being a champion of Mortal Kombat for almost 500 years, this guy kinda sucks. Now, he's posed as this big threat, but his best feat would be beating Frost in a comic that was never made. I mean, he has literally never won a fight beyond that. I would say the best thing Goro has is fighting Kano, Sonya, and Johnny Cage at the same time. But when you look at this page, it just says that they had him on the ropes while showing them fighting him. When you put in the context that Goro has not won a single fight and has lost to people weaker than the characters that Sonya and Johnny beat, you get, instead of the notion that it took 3 people to beat Goro, you get the idea that these 3 were just jumping Goro and just whooping him. Similarly, we have the man in 68th spot, Shang Tsung. Putting him this low is criminal, but the version of Shang Tsung that appears before Deadly Alliance, and I guess in MK9 and 11, has no wins under his belt. The only reason he's even this high is because I figure he should be stronger than Goro, since Goro was the sub-boss and he was the boss in the original game. In 67th place, we have Scarlet. Now, she lost to Kotal Khan, but she did beat a weaker form of Jackie in the MKX comic series. Right above her, I have Melina. Now, Melina did beat Scarlet in a fight, but she was assisted by Ermac, aka Ermac held Scarlet in place while Melina got off an attack. But it should be said that Scarlet at the time was being amped by the Kamidogu, which would make her stronger than normal. So I figure having someone hold her in place for one attack doesn't discount the fact that she beat a stronger form of Scarlet. And besides, if we don't give Melina that, she has nothing else to fall back on. Number 65, Kano. Now, Kano killed Stryker from behind. And out of respect for killing someone higher up on the list than him, I put him as high up as I could while still keeping it consistent. Moving on, we have Lee Mei. She directly beat Kano. Next up, we have Bo Raicho. He beat Kano on the pyramid in Armageddon. In 62nd spot, it's Kitana. Now, Kitana, especially in the original timeline, only has the feat of beating Melina and later Kano. She also loses to Jade, and in MK9, she gets beat by Smoke and Sonya. So, not going great. Number 61, Hotaru. He kills Lee Mei with no difficulty, might I add. Literally one-shot her. Number 60, we have Kintaro. His best feat is punching Kitana in Armageddon. So, what's the deal with Kintaro? Why is he a furry? He's the same race as Goro, right? Are, Shokans just randomly being born with fur? The dude has fangs. I don't know, bro. Someone got a little too happy at the Tiger exhibit. That's all I'm saying. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And where there's a 59th spot, there's smoke. He beat Shang Tsung and Reptile at the same time. Above that, number 58, Aaron Black. He lost to Kotal Khan, but he did briefly have Kung Jin dead to rights. And while Aaron Black isn't as strong as Kung Jin, I mean, he literally lost the fight to him later in the same game. Out of respect for basically beating him in a cutscene, I put him this high. Number 57, Tanya. She also got beat by Kotal Khan, but she beat Cassie Cage, which is a far more impressive feat than beating Kung Jin. Number 56, Kotal Khan. He's a man who actually beat Shao Kahn, but he did get crippled by him in addition to basically getting whooped in 2 other cutscenes. Beyond that, he got beat by Jade, Devora, Jackie, Kung Jin. This guy is just taking L's. And as a result, I can't put him any higher. But with that said, everyone this spot and above on the list should reasonably be able to squeeze out a W against Shao Kahn. Number 55, Kung Jin. He beat Kotal Khan. Number 54, Devora. She beat Kotal Khan. Also, Devora got beat by Jade, while Kung Jin got beat by Ermac, with Jade being higher up than Ermac, so. Number 53, Motaro. Now, Motaro killed Johnny Cage, which is really impressive, seeing as how Johnny Cage is still further up on this list. That being said, if I put Motaro above Johnny Cage, the scaling chain turns into a scaling circle. So I figure he killed Johnny Cage off-screen. We see him impaling Johnny Cage in MK9, but we don't know the context around that fight. Maybe Johnny was jumped and Motaro just got the last shot off and just impaled him, you know? I mean, we see Johnny fighting Motaro in MK9, but that's a different timeline. There was a butterfly effect. Maybe the circumstances could be different. And also, Raiden interrupted the fight, so who knows? Maybe Johnny would have won. Listen, I don't like putting Motaro below Johnny, but it's the only way to keep things consistent here. And I don't know, I'm sorry, buddy, just kill him on screen next time, that's all I'm saying. Number 52, Shiva. She killed Motaro. Number 51, Kenshi. Now, Kenshi has no wins under his belt, but he did kill Shiva in Armageddon. Granted, she was already fighting Ermac and Nightwolf, so it was basically a 3v1. But if you don't give this to Kenshi, he's going to be slumming it down there with Sector and the other bozos who can't win fights. Starting off the top 50, it's Baraka. He did capture Sonya. While this was typically never shown, we see in Shaolin Monks that he lost the fight to Sonya, then knocked her out by slamming her against the wall. Now, Shaolin Monks has debatable canon. Some people think it's not canon, while some people think it's a replacement for MK2. That being said, the weakest person Baraka gets beat by is Jade, so putting him up this high isn't even unreasonable. Number 49, Jade. She beat Baraka, Shiva, Devora, and Kotal. Number 48, Sonya Blade. She beat Kitana and Jade at the same time, which is kind of insane. Number 47, Jarek. He beat Sonya in a fight. Granted, he was about to get shot immediately afterwards, but making a clean escape is not a prerequisite for being stronger than someone. 46, Su Hao. He should be roughly equal to Johnny Cage, seeing as the two of them fell off the pyramid in Armageddon at the same time. That being said, number 45 should be no mystery. It's Johnny Cage, who beat Sonya, which is kind of insane when you think about it, seeing as Sonya is the woman who beat Kitana and Jade at the same time, and Jade was the person who beat Kotal, who beat Shao Kahn. But Shao Kahn did get his lick back, so. Number 44, Cyrax. Number 43, Ermac. Ermac just directly beats Johnny Cage. Cyrax did beat Johnny Cage as well, so Ermac and Cyrax are basically on the same tier. I just put Ermac higher because he was beat by Jackie, while Cyrax was beat by Sub-Zero, with Jackie being stronger than the form of Sub-Zero that beat him. Number 42, Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero beat Cyrax in MK9. Followed by number 41, Noob Saibot. The older brother reigns supreme in this case, as Sub-Zero literally gets beat by Noob Saibot in Armageddon. Number 40, Cyber Sub-Zero. Cyber Sub-Zero is supposed to be stronger than regular Sub-Zero. Cyber Sub-Zero also beat Noob Saibot. Number 39, Jackie Briggs. She beats Ermac. Cyber Sub-Zero's best feat is also beating Ermac. The only difference is the weakest person who beats Jackie is the old Sub-Zero, while the weakest person who beats Cyber Sub-Zero is Cabal, who's weaker than old Sub-Zero. 36, Serena. When Sub-Zero was getting jumped by Noob Saibot and Smoke, Serena came in and evened the odds. Seeing as how Noob would beat Sub-Zero in this very same game, it tracks Sub-Zero would have to fight Smoke, while she would have to beat Noob Saibot in order to win that fight. Number 37, Takeda. Takeda also beats Ermac, and is also beaten by old Sub-Zero, but in the MKX comics, a younger Takeda does technically beat Jackie, who beat Ermac. Number 36, Mavado. Mavado is basically dead even with Cabal, because he beats Cabal in one game and gets beaten by him in the next. Therefore, it should be no surprise who's in 35th place. Cabal. He's up this high because he beats Cyber Sub-Zero. And directly above Cabal is old Sub-Zero, because now while Cabal's best feat is beating Cyber Sub-Zero, who beat Ermac, old Sub-Zero's best feat is beating Takeda, who beat Jackie, who beat Ermac. Malik and Draman only ever fight together, but fighting together to consistently beat Scorpion. However, we know they are weaker than Scorpion, as said so by Quan Chi himself, and also they're weaker than Quan Chi, as Draman is killed by Quan Chi. That being said, I put them directly beneath Quan Chi because I figured they're his strongest servants, since the two of them working together have the best feats. With Malik taking 33rd place due to being killed by Revenant Katana, who is unquantifiably weaker than her regular self. While in the 32nd spot I put Draman because he was killed directly by Quan Chi. And in 31st spot we have Quan Chi. Quan Chi did this to Cyber Sub-Zero, which earned him this spot on the list. Directly above Quan Chi we have Stryker. While Quan Chi may have beaten Cyber Sub-Zero, Stryker beat Cabal, who's higher up on the list. And in 29th spot we have Scorpion. Scorpion beat old Sub-Zero. Kind of embarrassing. The two are not relative in the slightest. Every single form of Sub-Zero is weaker than the weakest form of Scorpion. Not counting mythologies, of course. I mean, Scorpion did lose in MK9, but he later just kind of said, no, I was going to flip the tables on him. I wasn't losing. Which, like, sure, I guess we'll strike it from the record. And directly above him, we have the man, the myth, the legend, but not the great, Kung Lao. He beat Scorpion, but he should be relative as he did lose a fight to Scorpion in the past. I did, however, put him higher since his victory against Scorpion was more recent. And at number 27, Quan Chi. Yes, Quan Chi's on this list twice. After spending 8 years getting chased by Scorpion, by the time he reappears in Deadly Alliance, he's just a whole different animal. So it seems like the cardio did him good, because he beats Shang Tsung, who at this point had beaten Kung Lao. That being said, you're probably thinking, okay, then where's Shang Tsung? Number 26, Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung gets stronger by eating souls, so it's no wonder that he got stronger after eating Liu Kang's soul. Now, while it's true he did lose to Quan Chi, like Kung Lao and Scorpion, they're relative, as he did lose in Deadly Alliance but beat Quan Chi in Armageddon. After Shang Tsung, we have the top 25, starting off with post-time skip Sonya. She beat Quan Chi, and if we're going with the logic that Quan Chi gets stronger as he gets older, then Sonya beating Quan Chi around roughly the same time period that Deadly Alliance took place would earn her this spot on the list. Directly above her is Jax, who also beat Quan Chi. The only reason I put Jax higher is because while Sonya is beat by Hanzo, Jax is beat by Sindel, who's higher up than Hanzo. Spoilers. Now, the Fallen Elder God beats Sonya and Johnny at the same time, this being a version of Johnny who is stronger than Scorpion, by the way. Directly above Shinnok, it should be no surprise, it's old Johnny Cage, directly beat Shinnok, after unlocking his green energy thing. And directly above Johnny Cage is Hanzo Asashi, who beat Johnny Cage. Granted, he was killed by Devora, who's way lower on this list, but he was stabbed from behind, and when Scorpion fought her, he was kind of manhandling her, so... Rounding out the top 20 is Corrupted Shinnok. After stepping into the Jinsei, he said he was absorbing Earth's realm's power. So, I'm gonna just put him this high out of respect for that feat. Number 19, Cassie Cage. She beat Corrupted Shinnok after tapping into her green energy thing. Number 18, Fujin. Fujin is an interesting character, because he has a lot of feats that would put him lower, but they kind of get ignored. Like, for instance, Frost said she beat Fujin, but she clearly didn't.
Fujin, I killed you.
You would do better spitting in the wind.
He also got beat by Bihan, but in Aftermath, he claims
You did not win that fight. You ran away.
cope, but okay, I'll let it slide. He's also capable of bringing Raiden down to his knees, but he definitely isn't stronger than him, seeing as how Fujin was beat by Garrus while he had help, but Raiden beat a stronger version of Garrus alone. All in all, I tried to put him as close to Raiden as I could, while still keeping things consistent, landing him in this spot. Number 17, Garrus. This guy only exists to lose. Imagine your whole gimmick is that you get stronger every time you die, but you just keep dying. That just means you aren't strong. Anyway, he beat Shang Tsung and Fujin at the same time. The next spot up, it's Nightwolf. I don't know what happened to him in the rebooted timeline, but he was just an animal. I feel like there's a joke somewhere. Nightwolf has the same thing as Fujin going on, where he lost to Scorpion back in MK9, but then a couple games later in intro dialogue, he's just like, did I really lose? I probably just let you win. And I'm out here like, bro, you're fighting to protect the Earth Realm and you're letting people win fights? The hell is wrong with you? Regardless, Nightwolf beat Garrus, earning him this spot on the list. Number 15, we have Shao Kahn. He's this high because he beat Liu Kang, but he did lose to Kitana, and he also does consistently lose to Liu Kang. He also did beat Cassie Cage, and also whooped Garrus, so. I'll take this time to point out that the green energy thing is something Johnny and Cassie should be able to use at any time, not just when they're protecting someone, seeing as how Shao Kahn thinks beating Cassie directly proves he's stronger than Shinnok. Number 14, Kitana. Now, I don't know what's up with Kitana. Throughout the first 7 games, her only feat is beating Melina and later Kano, and getting punched by Kintaro. Then, in MK9, she gets beaten by Smoke. But then, after having a conversation with Shao Kahn and getting angry, she just proceeds to become like top tier in the verse. She literally goes on to beat Smoke and Johnny Cage at the same time, the same Smoke who had just beaten her. And then, in MK11, Kitana beat Shao Kahn, which I don't think anyone saw coming. Liu Kang, he also has the feat of beating Shao Kahn. However, he does it 3 times as opposed to Kitana's 1. And directly after Liu Kang is Shiva. Post-time skip Shiva to be exact. She beats Kitana, who beats Shao Kahn. And this is also pretty consistent for her, because in Armageddon, which takes place at the end of the original timeline, she was beating Ermac and Nightwolf at the same time. So I guess Shiva just, I don't know, hits the gym daily or something. Number 12, it's the God of Thunder himself, Raiden. But Raiden, quite frankly, is one of the most cracked characters in the verse. He beat Liu Kang in every single timeline. Countless timelines, he beat Liu Kang. You know how sometimes you hear people be like, oh, this character beat that character, like maybe like 6 times out of 10, 5 times out of 10. Liu Kang beats Raiden 0 times out of 10. Played out across infinity. Yeah, the God of Thunder is not doing too shabby. Number 10, Taven. The demigod beat Raiden. Enough said. Number 9, Onaga. Raiden, Shang Tsung, and Quan Chi together could not beat this man, even when Raiden basically self-destructed. Number 8, Shujinko. He beat Onaga. Number 7, Blaze-empowered Shao Kahn from Armageddon. Raiden was beat by the Deadly Alliance, meaning Raiden is less than twice as strong as characters like Liu Kang and Shao Kahn. And if Kahn's Armageddon ending about Blaze's power making him 10 times stronger is correct, then this made him like roughly 5 times stronger than Raiden. Also, throughout all the Armageddon endings, the winner becomes stronger than the gods, even if a couple endings show that the Elder Gods are still stronger. Ironic that power from the man in last place makes people top tier in the verse. This guy out here like coaches don't play, he pulling up like, I guide others to a treasure I cannot possess. Number 6, Sindel. Now, Sindel was nothing impressive throughout the majority of Mortal Kombat, seeing as she literally was featless. But upon getting base boosted by Shao Kahn, being given Shang Tsung's soul, which you figure wouldn't make her that strong since Shang Tsung is kind of a bum, not gonna lie, at least that form of Shang Tsung is. Immediately after that, she just gets cracked. She starts team busting, squad wiping. She literally beat an Elder God. She beats Cetrion. Obscene. Number 5, Cetrion. Cetrion is an Elder God. And while it's true Sindel did beat her, she couldn't do it entirely on her own, since she needed some help from Nightwolf. Still crazy how relative the two are though. Like everyone was fiending for Blaze's power when they should have been fiending for Shang Tsung's. Directly above that, I have Nightwolf, but only when he's killing himself. Kamikaze Nightwolf is unironically stronger than Sindel, literally killed her. He also thought the attack would work on Cetrion, which makes sense seeing how comparable the two are. And in third place, we have Kronika. Literally has reset the timeline countless times. The timeline including everyone. She's also a Titan, with the Titans supposedly being stronger than the Elder Gods. That being said, number 2 spot goes to the man, the myth, the legend. Finally putting respect on his name, it's Shang Tsung. Upon getting Kronika's crown, he's stated to be equal to Kronika, and then proceeds to beat a crownless Kronika. All this adds up to Shang Tsung taking home the silver medal. Finally, number 1. Could it be anyone else? It's Fire God Liu Kang. The power of Raiden and Liu Kang combined. This man beat Kronika. He beat Shang Tsung with the crown, and he reset the timeline, bringing us into the new era. There was never any doubt. 5-time winner. Obscene record. 11 games, he's won 5. Bringing him soundly at the top of this list and confirming himself as the champion of Mortal Kombat.